are instructions which will help us in smooth functioning of the webinar. I hope all of us are in and we can take the webinar ahead from here. A couple of instructions to the participants. Please keep your audio and video turned off to prevent any congestion for other participants. Kindly do not touch the present now icon on your screens. Any questions you have can be posted in the chat box. And a sincere request to all the guest members, that is, non-FOT members, you can share your contact details, your name and mobile number in the chat box so that we can contact you for our further such webinars in the upcoming months. Thank you. So, friends, amidst the pandemic, all of us have realized the importance of eating fresh and healthy food to boost our immunity, isn't it? But for urban dwellers like us, it has always been a major challenge and concern to make healthy and fresh food available for our family. But what if I say this can be done right from the comforts of your home? Yes, you heard me right. Power packed nutritious food can be grown right in our balconies or windowsills, especially for people staying in metropolitan cities like us. And that exactly is our topic for the day. Grazing on microgreens, window farming for the urban dweller, to be presented by Dr. Behnaz Patel. I now request our President Emeritus, Dr. Firoza Godrej, to address the virtual gathering.
Please to welcome Dr. Behnaz B. Patel, retired though very active, head of the Department of Botany at Ruia College. Dr. Behnaz, a very, very warm welcome to you on behalf of all the participants and the listeners today who have joined this webinar. We're all looking forward to your talk, Grazing on Microgreens, something that is very, very essential for all of us in this time of pandemic to pay extra attention on. And we're looking forward to hearing your words of wisdom and your excellent slides on window farming for the urban dweller. I don't wish to stand between you and the webinar, so I hand you over to Sakina for the formal introduction. Thank you so much for joining us on this Sunday afternoon for what is going to be a very, very educative event. Thank you. Proceed, please.
Thank you, madam.
Thank you, madam. I now request our president, Dr. Ashok Kothari sir, to address the virtual gathering.
Good evening, friends. We are also waiting, all of us, to listen to the eminent speaker, Dr. Behnaz Patel. Because of pandemic, we are not able to organize many of our other plans which we do during monsoon. But Sakina has organized this webinar. There are a line of webinars during next 2 months. I hope you will enjoy today's webinar. I also don't want to come in between you and Dr. Behnaz Patel. Thank you very much, madam.
Thank you, Dr. Kothari.
Thank you, Dr. Kothari.
Over to Nikhil.
Without taking any further delay, I request Dr. Sanchita Chaudhary to welcome and introduce our speaker for the day, Dr. Behnaz Patel. Over to you, Dr. Sanchita.
Hello, Dr. Sanchita. Dr. Behnaz?
Yes, please.
Sanchita.
Sanchita is. I don't see her here.
Okay.
Sanchita? No, ma'am. I don't see her, ma'am.
No, she's not there. Then Nikhil?
Yes, ma'am.
Can you give a small introduction?
Sure. So, Welcome everybody. I take pride in introducing Dr. Behnaz Patel. As Firoza ma'am rightly said, she has been a teacher of botany for all her life. And today we are, really enchanted and really interested to hear what she has got for us. Because all of us in this pandemic have realized one important thing, that is our health. As rightly said, health is wealth, and we should take all the possible steps to keep our health to the fullest. So I, without any further delay, hand over the dais to Dr. Behnaz Patel to continue with her webinar for today. Over to you, Behnaz ma'am.
Thank you. Yeah, good evening, Dr. Firoza Godrej, Dr. Kothari sir, Dr. A.D. Sawant sir, Sakina ma'am, and pranam to my teacher, mentor, Professor Dr. Minu Parabia, who was the Dean Faculty of Science at South Gujarat University and always been an excellent mentor and a guiding force behind many of our ventures at Ruia. By a teacher, Dr. Lattu. Sir, it's an honor to see you here. Indeed, I'm obliged. Members, Indian Society of Friends of Trees, tree lovers, and future members of the Indian Society of Friends of Trees. And thank you so much, Vinay, for the warm introduction. Really feels good to be reconnected with people, at least through technology during the pandemic time, when senior citizens like me are unable to go, or are not allowed rather by the children even to step out of the home. Yeah, so let's start. Shall we start? Sakina ma'am, may I share the screen then?
Yes, ma'am, you can start.
Yes. Yeah. 1 second, please. 1 second, please.
Yes. Take
Yes,
your
ma'am.
on.
Yeah. Is it clear? Is it seen, please? Is my
Yes.
screen visible? Yeah.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes. Yeah.
Yes, ma'am. Perfect.
Yeah. So once again, a very good evening to all the Homo sapiens here. That is, as we call ourselves, man the wise or man the clever. And we indeed have been very clever friends in the sense that we have had a long journey, a journey from being in the caves or cave dwellers to our urban and rural setups, a journey from being a gatherer for fruits and a hunter, and then proceeding to agriculture, further to smart farming. Our dwelling has changed, our farming pattern has changed. We have also been a source of several revolutions. Like we had the Industrial Revolution, the Blue Revolution, the White Revolution, and of course, the most important for all plant lovers and food lovers, the Green Revolution. But along with that, especially the last 50 years, somewhere we were not wise enough or we were not clever enough in the sense that our life became a little sedentary from an active life. And that has progressed further and further. Besides, there's another sad thing that happened to us, and that is our food habits changed in the last 50 years. We started consuming more and more of preserved food or food with preservatives, and we also started having more and more of junk food in our diet. We very well know that whatever we eat today, next day, if it's a heavy meal, we are going to feel heavy, and we may be forced to skip either our breakfast or even our lunch. But many a times, though we are aware of it, we fail to remember that it's also going to affect us many years hence. We do not know of what or to what disease we are inviting within our body. And we have really not been careful in our diet. We have there are millions and billions of people on our planet, unfortunately, who are below the poverty line and they are struggling to feed themselves. And yet, unfortunately, we have a sizable number in the population which is to avoid overfeeding itself. Maybe a matter of habit, or maybe a stress-induced hunger for the junk food which just doesn't get satisfied. And because of this, this is leading to the rise of several age and lifestyle-related diseases. Like you have obesity coming in, which is the deadliest one of all, diabetes, high blood pressure, etc., and even cancers for that matter. So the World Health Agencies, they have suggested, of course, that they've been doing that since a long time, that we should reduce our consumption of refined, simple sugars, sodium, and alcohol, and increase the consumption of complex carbohydrates and have more of vegetables and colored vegetables in our diet. But unfortunately, how many of us can strict to this regime? Many a times when we are very tired, or even at our workplace, some of us are in the habit of having an additional cup of coffee or tea. And there are other people, stupid people like me, who would munch on a chocolate before rushing for a lecture so that I would feel energetic for the 2 continuous lectures. And if there's a recess following it, being mean enough to drag the students into the recess also. I have charged myself with the calories from the chocolate, but I know that in future it's going to affect me in a bad way, and yet I'm unable to get out of this addiction sometimes. And I'm sure there must be many like me. I can't be the only foolish person on the planet. So there are various reasons. And there are other reasons also for which it is very difficult to go back to our dietary habits of the ancient times. But we can at least change a little or add some supplement, not necessarily a food supplement purchased from the market, but something in which there is a joy of doing it on your own, having your own food, because that is what man was supposed to be. We have a common culture, a culture of agriculture. So no matter where we live, no matter how fast our lifestyle is, whether we get time or not, if we can find at least about half an hour a day for this work, we can easily have a wonderful solution lying in what are now known as the microgreens. So first of all, let's study what the microgreens are, or let's think about what the microgreens are. We didn't hear our mother or our grandmother telling us to consume microgreens, though we did consume them. But we were not aware that they're microgreens because the term wasn't coined. It's a term coined just for a marketing gimmick, or maybe to make something sound more attractive, which we had been having occasionally. So before we do that, we'll just have a short thinking or a recollection of what we have done in primary school. That is about the life cycle of the plant and at which stage the microgreen is going to come, where we are going to harvest it and enjoy it. Believe me, it is an enjoyable experience, both growing and consuming these little plantlets. So to start with, for all flowering plants, in their reproductive cycle or in their life cycle for that matter, they start their life with the seed. Now, a seed is nothing but a little embryo, which may be having food stored in what are known as baby leaves or the cotyledons, or it may be having food stored in an extra tissue. That food is to be utilized when it is going to sprout out, or when it is going to germinate, when it is going to explode with life. So that is the time when it's not initially, nobody is independent. We also thrived on our mother's milk. So similarly here, the mother is not going to be there. The parent plant might have died, or if it has been a huge tree, it might be continuing to live, and that would be, of course, far away from the seed. So the seed itself comes prepared with all its food material, and that will be present in the seed in the form of a reserve food material. Now this will germinate and give rise to a tiny seedling, grow further into a vegetative stage, then a reproductive stage to produce flowers, and finally the fruits, and within which again will be lodged the seeds, and again the life cycle continues. So now, concentrating only on the germination stage, it's going to be, we'll just think about that there are 2 types of germinations. We will think about that a little later also. And that becomes important to know because we will have to decide at what stage we are going to harvest, depending upon even what type of germination is there in the seed. So to start with, it will germinate, and at this stage, when the seed has just come out, and it's about, these are the baby leaves which are present in the seed itself, and we have seen them even when we are eating the mung sprouts, and then will come out the first true leaves. This is the stage which is laden or full of reserve food material, which is going, which has already got converted into a simple food material for us to consume and digest it well. Whenever we are having our pulses, or and even for that matter, if you are going to have your cereals, many a times we prefer to have sprouted pulses. And we say that if you have non-sprouted pulses, they may be heavy on your digestion. The complex food stored in the seed has to get converted into a simple one. It will also aid in digestion and also be more healthy in the process. And we do go a little step further also. So now, These microgreens are what we, as students of science, would say that it is a seedling stage. And since we are going to eat them, marketing gimmicks says they are infant plants, edible young greens of various kinds of leafy vegetables, salad crops, herbs, and other plants. But there are certain plants where you cannot consume them at the seedling stage. Those are the plants where we consume generally just the fruit, a small group of plants, which also we will see later. Now, we all know that our ancient wisdom has been extremely wise. We had our sages who laid down certain rules and regulations to be followed. Certain plants were considered very holy, and we were supposed to worship them. By worshipping, what they meant was we were supposed to conserve them, look after them, and offer them to God. In other words, these were the medicinal plants, or they were plants with high nutritive value. And one such stage was the seedling stage, which they formed us into a habit of sowing them during Navratri. So many of our cereal crops, especially wheat and barley, it is said that barley was the first crop which was cultivated, and it is also an offering to Lord Brahma. But surprisingly, during Navratri, we have the Saptadhan, which we're actually supposed to sow. But these people sow only wheat. Wheat and barley, along with a few legumes, form this Saptadhan. So these are supposed to be sown on the first day, and on the 10th day of Navratri, we offer it to Goddess. It's an indirect way of saying that these are the things also to be consumed for good health of mankind. Another similar practice is practice in Central Asia, where they have a celebration of the spring equinox. And just 10 days before the spring equinox, when these people, they believe that the departed souls visit them, they start the festival by sowing certain microgreens. Again, they have again a saptadan only, but they call it as haftashin, that is 7 they pronounce S as H. So Saptasin becomes, so Saptadan becomes Haptasin here. And 7 types of cereals along with wheat. So sorry, 7 types of microgreens, that is about 5 types of leguminous plants or pulses, and wheat and barley are sown. And on the 10th day, they are offered and placed on the Haftasin table. They're also, they can be consumed also, of course, the very next day. They are not immersed in the water there. So again, it is an indication that this is an important stage. And our mothers and grandmothers, they also did consume microgreens, and they made us also consume. Many a times when mommy would tell us to buy methi, we might come home with the huge joda of methi, and she would say, "Arey, I meant volatile methi, the small one," because this was supposed to be a delicacy, or a very, not a delicacy in the strict sense, something which they relished all the more. They would add it to our flour, the wheat flour for making chapatis, for theplas also we would add, along with the large methi. We would also make bhajias out of that and relish them. They were merely grown. I come from Gujarat. They were grown on the bank, near the banks of Trapti River, is where my mother had just taken me once to see how they are growing it in the sand there and harvesting that. I have not been to Versova Beach, but I was told that here there are some people who grow them. These people who sell them, they grow them at Versova Beach. Then, in the 1980s, microgreens entered fine dining. They didn't enter fine dining with a nutritive value in the mind of the chefs. They found them attractive for a display. So they would lay down something like a grassland and convert the eggs into bunny rabbits, and this would be the salad served to you, the egg salad. Or there is an open sandwich, and there it would be sprinkled with the microgreens, and they were added not just for an aesthetic value, but also it had a wonderful pungent taste. That is what our chefs discovered. If you munch into the microgreens of mustard, I'm sure you will enjoy it more than the mustard seeds or the spluttered mustard seeds also. So they entered fine dining with this purpose. But at the same time, work was going on, and a little later, rather, there were many scientists who were working on microgreens. Way back in the late 90s, even we did a little bit of work on wheatgrass because everybody was talking about wheatgrass those days. So many scientists also got interested into it. Many of them started analyzing the nutritive value of plants at different stages of their life cycle. And between 2014 and 12 and 14, the United States Department of Agriculture, they studied about 25 plants, and they said that the microgreens are more nutritious than their mature leaves. They concentrated mainly on those plants which are going to be or rather in whose leaves we are eating, like cabbage, broccoli. Broccoli, we also consume the leaves along with the flowers, the florets, mustard, etc., radish, beet. And they found that they were super charged with nutrition. And red cabbage turned out to be the most promising as compared to the mature cabbage. They found that the content of vitamin A, vitamin C, vitamin K, vitamin E, all these were much higher. Even the phenolic content was higher in the microgreens. Of course, a doubt also comes in our mind that when I take a huge cauliflower for 35 rupees or a huge red cabbage for 35 rupees or a broccoli also, it turns out to be cheaper than having just 100 grams of microgreens, which is also going to cost me the same. But the nutritive value is going to be much more, so it's going to compensate for all that. Now, since it is claimed and also proved in many cases that they have cancer-fighting properties, and believe me, they are energy boosting. You're running in the morning for work, a little bit of wheatgrass, either in the form of juice or just munch it on your way to work, and you're going to be charged with energy. They are going to help you in your hormones and regulate your blood flow, make your organs more healthy. And they are going to be richer, or they've been proved to be richer rather than the seeds, the sprouts. Then the greens at the larger stage, that is the petite greens and the mature leaves. So since these have now been so important, and now that again we are trying to be wise, we have now acquired, these have acquired a special place in our diet. Many of us have started growing microgreens, and they were of immense help during the lockdown period, because initially during the lockdown period, we were not even getting our regular greens. So these turned out to be of immense help to us. Once Mahatma Gandhi had said that the scientists have yet to explore the hidden possibilities of these innumerable vegetables, and maybe now we have found an answer in the microgreens, probably. So first, before we think of how to cultivate them, in order to get motivated further, besides the joy of cultivation, because here we are not going to we grow plants for various reasons. Aesthetics, we also grow them for their beauty. We grow them so that we can have butterflies visiting our balcony, our garden, etc. And birds also will visit. We grow them for food also. But over here, it's going to be a very short span. So we must give some respect to their health benefits also. So starting with the seed, as I told you, the seed is going to have a baby seed, rather is going to have the two primary seeds, and in which there's going to be the cotyledons and an axis. Don't bother about these technical terms. Of course, the root will be the one that will emerge first. So in such seeds, where only this embryo is present, surrounded by a protective jacket, which is the seed coat, and we say that it is non-endospermic, or maybe an extra nutritive matter is not present. So over here, this is going to be the condition. But there are others which have an additional nutritive tissue around them. And then here where the cotyledons were thick and fleshy, full of reserve material, here they are going to be thin and papery. And the germinating seed is going to take food from this nutritive layer, which, and over here in the case of maize, wheat, rice, etc., and over here from this endosperm. So both become very important. They're going to have carbohydrates, proteins. Some of them will also be having oils reserved with them. And of course, along with that, various other nutrient factors will also be present. Now, a stage when the seed germinates, it becomes a sprout. What do? We soak them for about 8 to 12 hours. Then we may or may not tie them in a tight muslin cloth, and it's going to have a high density. And then we allow them to germinate, or we allow them to sprout. These are also rich in nutrients because we have got whatever was a reserve food in the seed getting solubilized and being made available to the plant, to this growing root easily. And we are also going to get it in an easier form. So these are high in proteins, easy to digest, good for weight loss also, and they are high in fibers and low in calories. Most important thing required today for our sedentary lifestyle. Now, germination, as I told you, we will have to just think about the two types. We did not remember the name, epigeal and hypogeal, but epi is above. So the one in which the cotyledons or the baby leaves come above the soil, epigeal. So above the geal or above the ground when you sow them. And it is going to carry whatever little food it has got left after it has started growing with it over here, and it will be further used by these two first primary leaves. Later on, of course, these shrivel and fall off. So this is the stage which we are going to consume when the growth is apigeal. But when the growth is hypogeal, then the seed, the cotyledons of the seed remain within the soil. Hypo is below the ground. So they're remaining below the ground. And it will continue to supply its solubilized food to this growing plant or plantlet. So here we will have to wait. Over here, I can even consume them at the cotyledonary stage itself. But here I will have to wait for at least 2 or maximum 3 leaves to come up. Here it's either the cotyledonary stage, 1 leaf or 2 leaf. Though we often say that it is at the cotyledon, we consume them at the 2 leaf stage as a general statement. But we should be able to distinguish this. Our green peas, our chana or gram, these have a hypogeal germination, and here we will consume them at the 3 leaf stage generally, so that we get all the nutrients. Now, when we are so used to having sprouts, many times we wonder why we should go a step further, because in sprouts, you're going to sow them, not to sow them in the soil, and it is less laborious. But there are certain other differences also between the sprouts and the microgreens, besides the nutritive value. The flavor of the sprouts is going to be milder, and the microgreens will have a more intense flavor. It is a subtle flavor of the seed itself, especially when you have mustard microgreens, you really enjoy them, and there is a crispness in the microgreens. Even mung microgreens, the leaves, the first true leaves, you really enjoy crunching into them, and so also with the pea and various other microgreens. When you consume beet microgreens, somehow you get the smell of the earth when it is, when water is fallen on it for the first time after the rains. So it gives you a joy and a pleasure also. So flavor is also enjoyable. Growth condition will be that here you will be just soaking it in water and either tying it in a muslin cloth or keeping it in a tight container in a high density, and they're going to be very close, in close proximity of one another. While with the microgreens, the growth condition is that you will require a medium. Various mediums, sometimes even tissue paper works, sometimes you will need soil also, or you will need a grow mat too. So it will require a medium. Sprouts will not require light. The seed generally, except for some like lettuce and dill, they don't require light for germination. So light is not required at all. You keep them in the dark. Microgreen initially in dark, but you want the leaves to turn green and have chlorophyll, then obviously you are going to place them. And you have to need that. You're naturally going to give them light. Light is also not a problem. Even if you get 2 hours of sunlight, 2 to 4 hours of light, it's enough. If you don't get sunlight, artificial light will also do. They will be ready, the sprouts, on the very next day or maybe after 2 days. Microgreens may take a little longer because they are going to grow. Sometimes it may go even up to about 20 days, but generally about a week is required. You harvest them just when the roots have grown out. Microgreens you harvest obviously when the leaves are available. Now, one thing you have to note that when you think of almonds, don't go in for something exotic that yes, I will have microgreens of almonds. The almonds and those soaked seed stage are far more tasty as well as nutrition than at the microgreen stage. So there we have to avoid them. So certain plants we have to just neglect when you want to have a microgreen after that. Now, the health benefit as proved by United States Department of Agriculture and Maryland University, which published it a little earlier, that they're extremely promising, and they call them as food supplements par excellence, which can be easily grown at home. Now, they also said that they play an important role in heart disease, diabetes, Alzheimer's disease, and cancer. But people having kidney problems, they should have them in a lesser concentration. Some of them also, we have to remember that, may contain a high quantity of nitrates, depending upon what type of medium we are using to grow them. Now that we know that they're richer in nutrients and can be harvested so very quickly and require less space of growth, your windowsill is enough. I mean, you don't have a windowsill, there's no place on your windowsill, or there is no light there, it doesn't matter. A small corner with an artificial light is also enough. Then we must think of which are the ones which can be easily planted and consumed as microgreens. So let's think of plants in a different way initially, and then We will also think of them as per a scientific classification, which you don't have to remember, but you can just correlate. Okay. So we can start with the leaves. So those plants whose leaves we consume, bindas, you can have them. So then there is a long list. We Indians are known for our bhajis, which we have, and we love to have our greens. So in that respect, we have retained our health, I think, better than the others. So you have your amaranth, you have the spinach, radish, carrot, beet, coriander, basil, etc. And these can be absolutely willingly and most enjoyably consumed as microgreens. You've also had sprouts. We have pulses. Many a times, even cereals we do sprout. We do remove we crush them and we take out the extract and we say that I've taken out the wheat germ and then I've taken out the milk from that, and we used to consume that in winter, I remember as a child. So these pulses, etc., are some of the others also which we have as sprouts. We can go a step further, and that is a step further in the life cycle. After radicle, the cotyledon is going to come. So this becomes a step further. Here it has gone a step backward because the leaves are going to come after the seedling stage, and here we have gone at this stage. Or you've got so many spices and condiments in your kitchen. Don't talk about clove and cinnamon, but you have mustard, you have dill, that is suva, shepu, jeera, sof, and even sunflower seeds, whose oil also we consume. So all these can be germinated and they can be used as microgreens. So it becomes very easy for us even to procure the material for planting, but many a times it's preferred to buy the seeds from the market also. Now, let's think of what we can do when we are growing them on our windowsill or maybe in some corner of the house. So from that tiny little farm, better to grow on the window. It's going to get good air also, and a little bit of sunlight also will be easily available. So from your window farm to the table, let's think of how we will be going. We all know about the farming practices of our microgreens. We have done it in pre-primary school. That was the first agriculture we were taught. We have given small dishes or anything we could take. I remember my mother had given me a big ducken in which I had put cotton and then sown. We were always told to sow pea, and along with that, I think it was also it was also mustard and pea. Maybe the teacher was trying to tell us difference between epigeal and hypogeal, and we were probably not attentive or we forgot till we studied once again in school as we grew up. So anyway, we carried them, we grew them at home, watched them every day, the way we have even watched the emergence of a butterfly from a pupa, capturing the caterpillar, putting it in a box with holes on it, and then following the stage to pupa and all that. This was another exciting activity we went through. And we proudly carried it to school, and it was an honor to be appreciated by the teacher. So we know how to grow microgreens. So today we are really going to revise and give it a little better touch. That is what we are going to do today. So now, what are our requirements? You will require a container. You will require a medium to grow on, a substrate. Of course, life needs water, so you will need water. It's going to get air for breathing and later on for photosynthesis also from the surroundings. So we don't talk about air as of now. We don't know what the future holds in store for us. And then you will require light, either sunlight or artificial, and of course, the starting material, that is the seed. Containers, they need not be deep, but even if you have a deep container, it's okay, but you will be wasting your medium. That is only hurdle with a deep container. So you can purchase these huge trays, and many people who do on a commercial scale use these trays. Some of them use these trays with holes. Some use these complete porous trays. It is your choice, and also on the type of the microgreen and the way in which you are going to grow them, that you can use these trays. Or you can use a tray from your home itself. We have so many of our vegetables and even dates, etc. Am I audible, ma'am? Hello? Yes, ma'am. Am I audible?
Yes,
Very
yes.
well, very well, very
Yes.
well.
Yes, yes, ma'am.
Do I proceed?
Yes, yes. You can
Yes.
continue.
Okay. Thank you. Thank you. Okay. So we can easily use these, or for that matter, you can even use a cup, a mug in which you have had your milk or your coffee earlier, or you can have even a coconut shell which is already coming with 3 holes within it. Here, of course, you will have to make holes so that the water can drain off and not get overloaded. Many people even use the cartons of eggs. But these, when you're growing, if you're going to grow microgreens which are having a longer period for growth, then they become a little soggy and messy. So those like maize, but maize we generally avoid. I'll tell you why a little. I mean, not that nutritive as compared to wheat. But if you're going to grow that is going to require many days, like even sometimes sunflower or so, then you avoid using these eggshell, the cartons of eggs. You can, some people even grow them in cardboard boxes, because if they're going to give you a harvesting within a week, absolutely no problem, use them. Or sometimes when you're having lots of plants on your balcony or on your window grill, then say over here the ginger has been sown new, and therefore there is a lot of space over here available. It's not going to utilize the surface soil. So why not have microgreens here for the time being? And there is enough place also for sunlight to come. So here I have kept my mung microgreens, and here they have grown. Or you can even have this and make a hanging basket out of it. You can even use your hanging baskets at home, because they somehow give you a very happy feeling. Now, the medium can be anything. It can be absorbent cotton. It can be just cardboard. Tissue paper is ideal for chia seeds. It can be perlite, inert material. Use and reuse any number of times. You can use soil and, of course, coco peat. Many they have their own advantages. Like all of them here, they have a good water holding capacity. But only unfortunately, cotton sometimes will tend to retain the water a little more than others, and it may become soggy and attract fungal growth. So we have, whatever be the medium you use, you have to ensure that there is an easy flow out of water, or there is proper drainage, because the roots will require air for respiration also. So that is one part where we have to be a little careful, that it should have a good water holding capacity, but it should not get waterlogged. Coco peat, most of the people consider it as an ideal medium. Now, we all say, and of course it is a fact, that the seed has got all the material which it is going to require to germinate and grow into a seedling. But various experiments have been carried out, and people have experimented and found that, in fact, there are many research papers also published by Zion et al., in which they've said that an addition of, a little bit of any manure to the soil, maybe 1:1:1 coco peat soil and your manure, or maybe even a 9 parts of coco peat and just 1 part of manure also would be okay in some cases. You require that for a better growth. We all like plants which stand straight and tall. So obviously, somehow that factor comes up from the seeds itself, or I'm sorry, from this manure. So that is what supplies it. So this is what one has to be aware of and add to our medium. You also get artificial medium. By artificial, I don't mean artificial, I mean a prepared medium. There's something like a growth mat, a bed, a ready-made bed on which you can sow. So you get a coir mat, very good water holding capacity. Maximum water holding capacity is there in rock wool. Inert material, use it any number of times. The advantage of these growth mats is that they are sterilized before use. So you're not going to have contamination of any other material. Hemp is another popular mat, but unfortunately, the smell and the taste of hemp comes in your microgreens. So people generally avoid that. Now, these come as huge sheets, and we will have to cut them. So the best ones and the easiest to cut is the bamboo fiber mat, bamboo and jute. And both these are, especially jute, you can literally after one growth autoclave it, or you can even boil it in your cooker and reuse it as a sterile mat once again. Wood is also good. It also has a good water holding capacity. And when you have grown crops for about 2, 3, 4, or 5 times, then obviously you can all subject all of them to composting except for rock wool. So you're not even going to waste your medium when you're doing it. Now, another important requirement is going to be water. How do we water our plants? In the garden, we take our sprayer and spray them with the pipe, or you have a sprinkler all around in your lawn, or maybe sometimes we just take, when you are very lazy or very tired, or as we have done in the past also, just take a mugful and keep adding absent-mindedly. You can't do that here. These are delicate plants, so a delicate spray, and therefore you will require a sprayer. So initially, we have to ensure that there is sufficient water for the seed to imbibe the water and grow. And later on, we have to ensure that there is enough water so that the plant doesn't become weak and droop down. And for that, of course, we will have to use a sprinkler. And if you're not very comfortable with the sprinkler, or you feel that there is so much, I mean, I have to rush to work, and there I'll sprinkle in the morning. Again, when I come home in the evening, I'm tired. Where will I do that? Then what you do is you merely make holes and pass threads through it, the twine through it. And then you tie a knot so that it doesn't get distangled. And then you take another tray in which you can keep your water. Allow the water to rise after you have kept the medium by capillary action. When you see water has come to the top, then lift up the upper tray and put it, drain off the water and just keep it with the empty tray down below so that the water drains off, the excess water drains off. Similar thing you can do even with a coconut shell. You get these ready-made ones. Mind you, I told you that there are some with holes and some which are completely like a jali. So these can also be grown hydroponically. Here also, instead of water, I can add a nutritive solution. Way back in the 90s, when we were trying this on wheat grass and we were seeing the effect of various media, and also, of course, we didn't have these growth mats, etc. Those days, it was merely soil and compost, which was either our manure or it was cow dung manure or the compost bought, or an inorganic fertilizer also is what we were seeing. And we were also seeing the types of, different types of water, chlorinated water, then water containing, Hoagland's medium made from that, or any other medium, or just NPK added. These were the things we were just experimenting on at small levels for our BSc projects. And so therefore over here, you can grow them hydroponically. That time the word hydroponics, maybe we were not aware. No, sorry, hydroponics was known, but hydroponics as a practice of agriculture was not known. Of course, we did have hydroponics in our syllabus too, sorry. So here you just merely add it. You can add that also and let it go up. Or here you have the solution and the roots themselves will go down. Over here, they have not kept any medium. They've kept the larger seeds, so the roots are going down through the holes and absorbing water from or taking up the water, uptake of water right from the sink below. Same over here, you can make a little sink by taking a larger cap of a bottle, a deeper one in which I've kept water, the wick is down and it's getting water. And maybe if I've added a hydroponic solution, hydroponically grow. Many people do grow on a commercial basis, microgreens by hydroponics, and then they get the nutritive value analyzed for once, and then these are the ones they put up with the correct concentration on their boxes. Okay. Then an important requirement is light. Remember, plants always grow towards light, and therefore sunlight is going to be the best and the cheapest source of light energy. If you're using artificial light, we used to use tube lights earlier. You can even have your LED lamps. Then the distance of this artificial light should be at least 20 centimeters from the plant, because we don't want the heat to affect these delicate seedlings. We only want light to fall on it. These are the commercially available ones, the glow lamps as they call it, growing lamps or glow lamps also, and they come with different wavelength adjustments. You will see later the wavelength, the blue wavelength, which we are going to prefer for microgreens, but it doesn't mean that they will grow better. You can't proceed. Normally, certain seeds we take from our kitchen itself, like methi, mung, even cowpea. The microgreens are delicious and very, very nutritious. So many of these we get, mustard also for that matter, we can take from the kitchen. Please ensure that they are organic and they have not been sprayed with pesticides. If at all they have been, wash them thoroughly in running water. So what you do is you take a bottle, and in that, a glass bottle, and in that you put your seeds up to about 1/4 level. Put a muslin cloth on the mouth of the bottle, tie a rubber band around it or a string around it, and then put it under the tap with a slow flow, gentle flow. And as it keeps flowing for a few hours, I'm sorry, you'll be wasting the water. And then, or you can have a larger bucket outside, and then you collect the water in that and use that for watering the other plant. And these are whatever is there, it will drain out and the seeds will get cleaned. Or you can buy them from the market. Please remember that there are no special seeds for hydroponics. It is merely advertised in that manner. When you say that you have bought seeds for hydroponics, it means you have bought seeds in a larger quantity, because you are not going to do with 10 seeds over here. You can afford to buy 10 seeds when you want to have 10 plants, but you can't have 10 microgreens. You will need to have lots of them. So though the package says for hydroponics, it is just that you are buying seeds on a large scale. That is what you are doing. Yeah, this is what we just discussed. Okay. You can even develop your own stock, but that's going to be difficult since most of us here are having an urban dwelling. Now, let us think a little bit botanically on what type, because that will become easier even if you're not a botanist, on what to sow and what variety to have. Variety is the spice of life, so we want to have something different every time. You may have rice every day, but then it is a different preparation over the days. So here also, let's have something different. For example, you can start with members of the Brassicaceae family or members of the cabbage family, cabbage and cauliflower family and turnip family. This is turnip, not beet. Uh, This is also known as a cruciferous because the flowers are in the form of a cross. Remember our Hindi movies, Sarson ke Khet mein, the hero and the heroine run. So these are the flowers, in which all the flowers are in the form of a cross. So we say it belongs to family Cruciferae. We call it Brassicaceae because the name of the family should be an adjective of the name of a plant, which is a noun. So therefore, we call it as Brassicaceae. So these are the ones: broccoli, cabbage. In cabbage, red cabbage microgreens are the most nutritive, cauliflower and radish. This is the one of radish. Okay. Then you have even our papilionaceae. Oh, sorry. You have our papilionaceae members. That is the flower like a papillon or faboides are from the genus Faba. So now here you have the beans and the peas. But please don't have groundnut. Groundnut is better off as it is. Do not use groundnut for microgreens. So mung and chawli, they are the easiest. Val is also good, but one thing we observed in val was that it has a particular anti-diabetic compound, which is a glucokinase, and many people call it as a leg insulin, a leguminous insulin. We found that the concentration of that as a level to regulate your, I mean, you can't have it as a medicine, it's just a food supplement. So for your, I mean, to control your sugar levels, it is more in the sprouting stage than at the, at the seedling stage. So you can have them. They have a bitter taste of their own. After all, even val has got that taste. You like it, you have it. Then even masoor or lentils, they form very delicious microgreens. Peas, of course, are a delight to have, and so also are gram microgreens. Coming to our cucumber family, how many times we have waited and waited for the female flowers to appear on the cucumber plant, and finally you take the male flowers because they come first, store them in the refrigerator. I had my friend Dr. Kaimel working on it, so she used to work on this pollen preservation and prolonging the prolonging the life of the pollen grains. So there's the viability. And then she used to store them under various conditions. Motivated by that work, even we would do it at home, keeping them or storing them at low temperatures, etc., and trying it out, and then waiting for the female flowers to come up. Tried various gimmicks. First sowed some plants and said you will act as the female flower plant, and then sowed the male flowers a few days earlier. And one friend told me, "Arey, we just eat the male flowers when they come and make a sabji out of it," and that was a very good solution. But here, the cucurbitaceae microgreens also are really delicious and charged with nutrients. Of course, they have a physical dormancy. We'll think about how to do that. So you need to rub some of them against sand. So just on a sandpaper, not sand, sorry, on a sandpaper to remove that physical dormancy. Dormancy or sleeping period is also required for the plant. Supposing it gets little water and it were to germinate in nature, then if it doesn't get water, it doesn't rain immediately, the seedling will die. So let the water be held up in the soil initially. So it would have either a physical dormancy or a physiological one with certain chemical compounds being different, and these need to be washed away or need to be converted. Anyway, that's beside the point, but we should just think of this and remember that we would have to break a physical dormancy. Okay, so here in cucurbits we do face that problem, especially when if you're going to try with watermelon, and then we used to use in our laboratory sulfuric acid, but none of you will like it, and you'll kill me if I say that. So here you would need to rub them on a sandpaper. Then coming to our Apiaceae members or umbelliferae, that is the family of carrot, then your dill, your saunf, suva, that is dill, and of course even our coriander. A delight to have these microgreens. They're extremely delicious, especially the microgreen of saunf. It's tastier, believe me, than the variali of the saunf which we have after beans. And they have a lovely earthly flavor, and there is something different about them, something very delicious. As children, we used to have the green variali also. Those people used to stand at the corner they were not, the hawkers were not allowed outside the school. So at the corner, and we would buy, and then we were told not to buy anything when we are in our school uniform. So that was a real, sometimes you used to feel bad about it, but we had to follow the rule. But then it had a special good taste, and the same taste comes even in the microgreens. Considering the Asteraceae members, lettuce, and of course, sunflower. Then we go on to the Labiati members, and the Labiati, all these seedlings exactly look like this. So basil, tulsi, and sabja. Sabja we had to Faluda also. So why not use those seeds for growing the microgreens? Tulsi seeds are also easily available. And when you're growing, most of us have started growing basils of various types in our homes. So we of course prevent flowering so that we continue to keep getting the leaves. We keep chopping off as soon as you see the inflorescence germing up. But these microgreens are also very delicious. Amaranthus, the amaranth microgreens are extremely delicious. And another thing about amaranth is the lovely color because of its pigment. And therefore, over here, you can even have an aesthetic value to it. Like you have a bed of green microgreens and you're going to give a box full of it to your friend. So you give it along with the soil. So, I mean, along with the medium, just as they are growing, and let her initial be there in the amaranth microgreen. So she's going to love a purple or a reddish colored, says her name starts with A, so A in the center, and a green meadow all around. It's going to be one of the, a better gift for a bird, I would feel. Then you have your spinach, again enjoyable, and of course the beet microgreen from the family Chenopodiaceae. Liliaceae, though we say you can have onion and leek, but practically people don't go in for that. Very, very important microgreens are from the family Graminae, that is the grain family or the Poaceae members. We go in for barley and wheat generally, more so wheat over here. Now, maize gives microgreens within 5 days. But unfortunately, when people have made studies on this, they've found that the nutritive value, I'm comparing microgreens, different microgreens. I'm not talking now about microgreen at the leaf stage, the seedling stage leaf and the mature leaf. I'm talking about comparison between the nutritive value of wheat and maize. Then wheat surpasses maize. So better, why go in for maize unless and until you want that taste or you want a different delicacy? Go in for wheat and barley. Besides, maize takes longer to germinate than wheat. Wheat I sow today, tomorrow it germinates, and within 8 days it is ready. Now over here in Poaceae, we have to be a little different in the harvest time, in the sense that you will see the first leaf coming up, and the seeds are albuminous, and so there is an endosperm down below. But do not consume this very first leaf. When it grows a little further and you see the first node, the joint of the first leaf coming up, and you will see that only when the second leaf is about to merge out, that is the stage. Now, that doesn't mean that you will need to peep inside. There is a definite time period in wheat. So what you do is, day it germinates, you will count that as day 1. And then on the 8th day, generally, this is the change that occurs. So it is ready on the 8th day. How we will keep a series, and so that you can enjoy your wheatgrass every day also we will think about. This is a deadly family, the tobacco family, that is Solanaceae. And to be very mild and healthy, of course, our tomato, the brinjal, the capsicum, and the potato family too. So we have enjoyed these fruits. We have enjoyed the tubers of potato. Let's be happy with that. The microgreens here are toxic. We should not consume them. Now, thinking about the cultivation. Now that we are thorough and you have had your own plan, that first I will grow this, then I will grow that, or I would go in for this and mix that, etc. Now we have to think of the protocol of how we are going to go about. So preparing the container, we have already done it. You make holes in it. The holing, making of holes for aeration is a must. Now you will tell me why I'm putting these plastic ones, but because that is what I've got, and rather than throwing it, I will use them here. You can even use earthen dishes. And of course, as I told you, avoid the eggs. Avoid these egg balls. Or you can take even these coconut shells, made a big system for what, and then I even hang it. And then I bring it down, put it over here as seen here, and that is the way it gets its water. You're using an artifact ready-made meat. So now what are we going to do, by the way? I'll fill it up. Over here it is coco peat, and a mixture of coco peat soil and manure is what I have done. Do I continue?
Yes, ma'am. You can.
Yeah. Okay. Now these are the growth mats, ready-made available. And these are the huge trays in which you can lay them. Now, larger, if you have to break the dormancy, as I told you, physical or physiological, we have already discussed that. We will avoid seeds which have a physiological dormancy to sow, and the list I've given, none of them have that. Lettuce, of course, will require light, but it will germinate. We won't take seeds that require many days to germinate. Physical dormancy, Cooker BTC members, just rub them on a sandpaper. People say you must test the germinability, but no need to do that. Some people say you add water. If they float, then they've lost their viability. Of course, to some extent, yes. And those that are sinking, they have still the viability retained within them. Larger seeds we soak in water, better to soak. It will make the work faster. Sometimes they even sprout. It's okay. A little bit of radical has come out, a little bit of the root. But be careful, it's a delicate baby. Now we sow them. Follow a proper pattern. Just don't go in a haphazard manner and sow them properly. Now, this is extremely dense. So please, though when they sell it also and when they give you, you love to feel it. But this may attract so much of denseness, may attract the growth of fungi or mold. So avoid that and let it be a little spaced apart. If you're doing on a commercial scale, then you're going to sterilize the soil, take proper care, missing everything is going to be automated at a later stage. Then you can go in for such high density. Then you press it with your hand and nuts. Either this is, of course, from the net, this little picture, only this picture. So this is here, he's watering it himself, but I would prefer to sprinkle it or have a capillary action. Now, if these are small seeds, by the way, after sowing them, now for germination, what I will do is I will put another layer of cocoa peat on top, a very thin layer, as if I'm covering it with a blanket, the way I would do when I go to sleep, so that they get darkness for these seeds. And then you can even have further darkness by keeping another inverted dish over it. So some of these people, what they do, they just stack these twigs one above the other and keep them. But if the seeds are very, very small, then we are only going to sprinkle them. And you may not, with chia seeds, you cannot blanket. If you put a blanket of another tissue paper, they will not be, they don't have strength enough to merge out of the tissue paper. So you do not blanket it. So you cover it with an inverted dish above that. And then because oxygen supply also has to be there, you only want to inhibit light. That is, you are inducing a blackout. As I told you, for lettuce, you will require sunlight, and so also on amaranth. Many times, flies come during the blackout period. So though there is blackout, a little bit of cheating is okay. You can just expose them for some time and then again cover them, so that the flies will fly off if they have come. Using tissue paper, this is the way we would sprinkle it. This is the way, this is, of course, this is from the net. I do not use growth mats ever. So here they keep it in heap and then they spread it. Here they've spreaded it, or they merely do it with a spoon. And this is how it would be ready, and just lift it up and then cut it off. As I told you, do not water out, do not overwater. They will require air, so you will be misting them. Okay. Now, light is the most critical requirement once the seeds have germinated. You get these beautiful LED lights, a real delight. And something which I would also like to have just for, I don't know, I find it aesthetic, I don't know. But somehow I feel like having one at home in a small corner where I'm growing it, I might feel very important rather than the windowsill. And here we have these lights come in different stages. So now when they're giving blue light, our seedlings, the epicotyl or the part which has come above, is going to be receptive to blue light for its phototropism or bending towards light. So it will bend in that particular direction. There are certain hormones which will cause elongation on one side and reduction in the cell on the other side, and therefore it will bend. But so that is why initial stage for microgreens you will require blue light. Then you require, I mean, later on, if you're going to have, I mean, go on up to flowering and fruiting, it's going to be a red light requirement also for certain plants, not all, mind you. And then it's going to be a full
Hello.
then they will come up. Many a times that causes a little bit of a dirty feeling. That is all that happens. On one side, I'll have a little water.
Hello.
Voice problem,
Yes, ma'am.
Sakina.
Just a little water.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yes. No voice problem. I said I'll have a little water.
नहीं नहीं ओके कंटिन्यू
Uh-huh. अभी आया
डॉक्टर बेनाज yes we can hear
I'm audible, ma'am. Hello.
yes now audible yes you can continue hello I think
Hello.
hello yes
Yes, please. Yes, ma'am. I'm continuing.
yeah.
Yes, sir. Yeah. Do I continue?
yes you continue
Yeah. Yeah. So now here you're seeing at a very tiny stage. They've just grown. Little larger, little larger. This is day 8. So supposing you plan to have wheat grass every day. You want to have juice in the morning. No time. Take a mouthful and go out to work, chewing it all the way. We have chewing gum. You can have a series. Now it's going to be ready on the 8th day, so better to have 9 pots ready. And you need about 15 minutes every day. So what you will do, night you soak the wheat.
I think net issue.
Wash and soak. Next morning, put it in one hanging it because there is no uproot the wheat. The problem with wheat is that is what we have noticed is that it attracts.
Hello, Dr. Behnaz. Hello. Hello, Dr. Behnaz.
Now, let's think.
Your voice is breaking.
Ever since the pandemic, everyone is again still breaking.
Now it is coming properly.
Is it breaking now?
No, now it's coming properly.
Okay. Okay. If it repeats, ma'am, then is it? I mean, I will put off the camera then. No. Yeah. But anyway, now it's coming. No. Yeah. Okay, ma'am. Yes. So now let's think. So let's be a little positive. And why say troubleshooting? We will use the word optimizing the conditions to overcome certain things. Slow germination. Slow germination means the seeds are a mixture. So some of them are a little older. Some have not come. I mean, they're still in the dormant stage, some of them, or maybe they've lost their viability also. They've been stored for a longer time, and there is a mixture. Some have been stored for a longer time, some for a lesser time. This normally happens when we use the seeds from our kitchen. So then this is not a big hassle. You harvest them as they are coming. Only thing, your crop may be less, so have a sufficient. Second is the yellowing of the seedling. Now, when you are given a dark period, obviously it will not have chlorophyll. So to start with, the seedlings are going to be yellow. But sometimes you may extend the dark period by mistake. See, when you're giving a dark period, when you're giving a blackout, you have to check that have they germinated? Oh, the cotyledons have come up. Now I have to give them light. But if you forget to check and the cotyledons have opened up and then they grow further, they are going to be yellow. But again, not a problem. Within a day or even sometimes even within 4 to 6 hours, many a time, they will turn green. So again, no hassle. A major and a serious problem is the fungal attack. If your water is, if you have overwatered it, or if there's been a water logging, or if at all your seeds are already contaminated with fungus, we do not surface sterilize these seeds at home. We are only washing them. Some people prefer to surface sterilize them in sodium hypochlorite. But here we are not doing that. We are just washing them. So then this fungal growth may come. It comes many a times in wheat also. So ensure that your your soil is not waterlogged. And these are the fungi growing here. Can you see these white dots? Yeah, that is the mold. Then they may just bend on one side or peep out as if they are peeping out of the window to see what is there down below. That is because there is unilateral light. So turn it through 180 degrees and the problem gets solved. They're turning towards the front. Next day they will be red. Again, third day they may again bend, again turn. Then, if there has been less light, a very, very sad problem which you cannot overcome, they are going to be thin, weak, leggy, and tall. You can't do anything about it. And not only that, you are not going to enjoy. They won't be crisp. They won't have the pungency. They will be very, very watery, soggy, and you're really not going to enjoy. And you can't do anything about it. So it is better to be careful from the beginning. There may be uneven growth, as over here. Now, here what has happened? This is in a pot. This part is facing outside in the window. And this part is not getting light because as these are growing, they are keeping it in the dark, something like an eclipse. So over here, what is happening is that they are growing slowly. So then again, as you see, this is happening, turn through 180 degrees, harvest those which are ready and go ahead. Many a times they will be dirty at harvest. The dirt may be because of these seed coats which have come up when the seed has germinated. That is okay, you can wash it off. Sometimes, especially in wheat, when you have kept a cover on top, if the blanket is a little thicker uh, of your medium at the top, that is your cocoa peat at the top, or even if you have used soil, then your wheat, by the way, grows better in soil. And if there is a thick cover, then what happens? It carries with it. Then it falls down. But maybe there might be some harmful microbes also, we do not know, in the soil. So better to wash them before consumption. Then when to harvest. The books say that 2.5 to 7.5 centimeters, but please avoid 7.5. Up to 5 centimeters, it's over. Okay. Some of these chefs in fine dining, they enjoy having a very, very large stock. Something like having one rose and with a large stock at the bottom. But then over here, they lose their pungency, they lose their taste also. So better to harvest them when they're about 5 centimeters, 4 to 5 centimeters, I would consider as ideal, but our tastes vary. Epigeal, as I told you, cotyledonary stage in methi or 1 to 2 true leaf. Mung grows the true leaves faster and it is the fastest. So harvest it at the true leaf stage. Hypogeal wait up to the 3 leaf stage. And our cereals, that is poaceae members, at the jointing stage. Maize again is the fastest. Maize and mung, they are the fastest. Mung within 4 to 5 days and maize within 5 to 6 days. Now harvesting at home, of course, we are going to use a scissors very close to the medium or to the soil surface and merely cut it off. Collect it in a colander and wash it thoroughly in water. If you're going to store them, then you will have to dry after washing or wash later. Cereals, again, if you have used a small pot, you can make it so convenient. And if you're going to munch them, you can start cutting in small parts from the beginning, the way we would chop our vegetables. So that is the way you can do for cereals also. This is the proof that you get it maximum on day 8. And here there was 2 types of comparisons between 2 types of water feeding, and that is why there are so many parameters taken up over here. But anyway, you can see that for each and everything, it is maximum on the 8th day. So that is the day you have to harvest wheat. Now here you have your sophisticated tools for harvesting. You can think about going in these for once you start going on a commercial scale so that it becomes faster and easier. Now, once you've harvested, maybe you will not consume immediately and you would like to have a post-harvest management. So you refrigerate it. Refrigerate it such that it remains crispy for several days. So then don't wash. It will become soggy, dirty, and attract mold also. And if you lose moisture, it will lose the crispiness. So moisture is to be retained, whatever is the inert moisture. And at the same time, it should not become soggy. So best is place it in an airtight container. But it's also going to lose some amount of water on its own. So we get those boxes these days which have got air vents and a corrugated surface at the bottom. We can use that, or you can even use them using a tissue paper. Somehow I found that tissue paper turns out to be better. These are of cowpea. Tissue paper turns out to be better as compared to kitchen towels. So I found that to be better. You can experiment and try it on your own. You have not washed them before storing, so please remember to wash them before eating. You can also dehydrate them. Some people dehydrate them in the microwave. or you can even dehydrate them in an incubator at about 35 to 40 degrees, or leave them in the open under the fan covered properly so that dust does not fall. When they become dry, powder it and keep. We also get wheatgrass, the dried powder also in the market. You can make it at home and preserve it the way we do for moringa also. Or you also get tablets. I do not know how to make these tablets, but then you do get them in the market. Okay. Now, even in post-harvest management, there are going to be challenges. The deadliest ones are fungal and E. coli contamination and a decay. So best is to store them just in the upper compartment of the refrigerator or in the chiller just below the freezer. They say you can store up to 14 days. Some people claim that they store even up to 3 weeks, some commercial growers, but then it is best to have it within 10 days. The crispiness, the taste, the nutritive value, everything is conserved well. So now that we know these are an intense version of their full-size vegetables, and we know the nutritive value, such an enhanced flavor, richer in each and every phytoconstituent that you are going to require, a primary metabolite required by you. Everything is possible, so why not consume them in a proper manner? You merely munch them if you enjoy it that way. Add it or sprinkle it on your salads, and it's a part of your salad. Remember to consume it. Add it to your juices, your smoothies with curd. With curd, they are extremely delicious, and you garnish them. You have it added to your soups. Sprinkle them on the top. Have it as a side dish with a burji or an omelette prepared. Sorry for the double L, it should have been single. And the omelets and the mayonnaise. You add it to what you like and enjoy them to your best, so that you're going to be a healthier person. Wheatgrass, again, most popular one is the juice, and the juice is really very, very delicious. Or you have a dehydrated powder, and as I told you, commercially Dept. Now we will just have a quick look at the microgreens. I've just made a tabular form based on my experience, so we'll just go quickly through that. So these are the crucifery members, and the germination time of radish is a little variable. Sometimes it germinates even after about 6 days, but then we have taken that you do not require, pre-soaking is not necessary. For mustard, it is better not to have a pre-soaking. The time of harvest will range from 8 to 12 days in most of them. Then similarly for Papillonesis members, these are the earliest ones. I mean, some which you really enjoy and get very good results. Cucurbitaceae members take a little longer. Then you have your APSC or umbelliferi, that is apna coriander, etc. Then you have your sunflower and lettuce. Lettuce is also a delight to have. In fact, it is crispier than the lettuce which we have in the sandwich. So why not have many microgreens covering your, within your fill of the sandwich? It's going to be more fun. Then our Lamiaceae, that is our basil members. Chia seeds also have a lovely taste, but a very, very mild one. As it is chia, also the taste is mild. Amaranth, of course, you are going to, I told you about it. So also beet and spinach. Now, poaceae members, very, very important, a very, very rich source of chlorophyll, vitamins, minerals, and it has been claimed that they also can fight and block peptic ulcers. All the nutrients required are available in it, so why not have it every day? Wheatgrass juice, barley grass juice. Many people prefer to have a cocktail of both these and enjoy it. So it is the way you want. Now, many a times, many people, we have turned our hobby into our profession. Also, many of us like music. We didn't make a career out of it. Others went ahead with that. So why not make this into your hobby, into your passion, or maybe the ease of growing also into your commercial output. And age is never a barrier. We know the story of our KFC, but then there are others also, like Radha Daga, a housewife, and then she started her own tiffin service. She started at the age of 73, employed the downtrodden women, and then she had a roaring business and was supplying food even to various airlines. Mary Tennyson had an aged mother in her 90s who was finding it difficult to carry the sling bag. The mother was very independent going out and with a walker, and then it was difficult for her to carry a sling bag. She just thought of this minor modification in the sling bag to have it on the walker itself, a modification which we might have also thought of. But here she put it into a professional practice, and then she started her own business out of it, and she was an entrepreneur. And here we have an entrepreneur in the education business. He knew people are already taking coaching classes, etc. online. So he went in for quizzes, and it's going on very well. So many of us here who are senior citizens and those who are not, I mean, still in there, even if you're in your teens, you can just start this as a small entrepreneur. You just require a small room. You can have slotted angles and have your shelves fitted to it and have artificial light in a room, or maybe make a setup like this and start your own business. Marketing is going to be very easy. Right now in India, there are very few people in this market, so you have a chance. They are easy to grow. You're going to get results maximum 20 days. If your crop fails, only your 20 days effort is gone. But then today is the day 20, that crop is failed. Next day's crop is ready after days 20. So the loss is only going to be for a day if your crop fails. Otherwise, if you're growing, of course, you should grow vegetables also. But over there, the loss may be a little more. Here, the loss will not pinch you. So the next crop will be ready. You're going to use less water, so you're going to economize on that too. And these are the large firms on a commercial scale, which many people abroad, maybe even in India, are indulging in. Then marketing has to be attractive. So here you give it along with the medium. It remains fresh. As low kal khao, that way. And here you can have a small, maybe in a small circular place right in the center, have something red in it, and then it's available. Another important thing here is that when you grow these microgreens, remember the joy we get when we run on a lawn. I mean, barefoot on a lawn. There is some joy you feel when your feet touch the grass. When you move your palm, which is, I think, again, a part of your limb itself, like your foot sole, when you move your palm, you feel the same happiness and the joy. So you have grown mustard and you just move your hand and close your eyes. You really feel very nice and happy about it. Something as if you're playing with your dog also. It gives you a source of happiness. So they are also going to give you a lot of joy. You sell them online, you sell them you go to the retail outlet, the retailers, or you just start having your own one, you sell to, give to your relatives, do what you like, but then it is there to start on a commercial basis and a simple one. These are the references we went through. And here, these are the sources of the images, whichever have been taken, and most of the photographs have been taken by me on my own window farm itself. Now, as citizens of planet Earth, it becomes our duty to ensure that we remain as sapiens. Otherwise, we will have to change our specific name from Homo sapien, man the wise, to man the idiot. So in order to prevent that, let's all pledge that we can easily grow our microgreens. Since we can easily do it, as citizens of the entire planet, let's grow them on our own and cultivate them, grow them, consume them for a healthier planet. After all, we are the only one in our solar system with human life, at least. Now people talk of life, maybe here, maybe there. So let's say with this life here, we are the only ones. So let's retain our planet and let's make it a wonderful place to live in. It's always been a beautiful planet. So let us retain it by remaining healthy also, so that we can enjoy the beauty of our planet. Thank you very much, friends. I think I took a little too long. I'm sorry for that.
Yes, sir. Thank you, Dr. Behnaz.
Thank you,
It was
ma'am.
very excellent and very informative.
Thank you.
So now over to Nikhil.
Thank you, Dr. Behnaz, for such an enchanting and a wonderful and informative seminar. It was really, nice to see you. We could actually see the teacher in you come out and teach us through the session. I think one of your ex-students, Lakshmi Iyer, is here with us, and she was very happy to attend the seminar. Also, for amateur gardeners like us, it is really helpful, to learn the art of growing your microgreens at your home.
Thank you.
So thank you, ma'am, for that.
Thank you
I
so
see
much.
a lot of
It was a pleasure for me also, because it's a different audience and you really enjoy that. We have always been with, for us, our students are they are children to us. So even if you start early, say even when you are 22 years old and you are teaching the students who are 20 years old, still they become your children. So I've always interacted with children, and it's a joy to interact with adults also. Thank you so much. I really enjoyed myself. Thank you.
Indeed, ma'am. Ma'am,
Have any questions? Yes, please.
while the seminar was going on, a lot of questions have poured in our chat box. I request Vijaya Chakravarti, ma'am, if she can take us through these questions, and you can help us answer them for our participants.
Uh, Thank you, Nikhil. Of course, I joined a little late because I have a baby grandson, so I missed some of it, but it is full of comments, Dr. Behnaz.
Thank
People
you,
are
madam.
highly
Yeah.
appreciative of what you have said, and all of them feel that it is an extremely interesting and informative presentation. And many of us feel, that you've taught us something new, like cucurbits. Many of us didn't know, about the male flowers coming earlier and the female flowers coming later. And we have Prasanna Kaimal, who says it's an
Hi,
excellent
Prasanna. A joy to
yeah.
be with Prasanna again. So Prasanna is the one who used to prolong the life of the pollen grains and then extend the viability of the pollen. Oh, Prasanna,
How
I'm glad.
How wonderful. So she
Yes,
says it's an
yes.
excellent slides and very interesting presentation and excellent information to all of us. Then we have, many people who've said that you've talked about very good opportunities, professional and career opportunities for senior citizens to take up, plant enthusiasts to take up. And then we have Swati Shirorkar, who says excellent informative presentation.
Thank you.
Then we have Manize Misri. He says you've given us, he gives some tips. He says if you want to make tablets, you can buy empty capsules and fill them with the powder.
Oh,
So this is
yes.
some,
Thank you so much, madam. Thank you, Manish, madam.
yeah.
Thank you. Yeah.
Then we
It's a
have
lovely
Dr.
suggestion. Yes.
Yeah, so we've got some tips also. And another excellent thing is a lot of participants have shared their email IDs. They're so impressed by your talk, that they want to join FOT webinars. So we have a number of participants who have shared their email
Thank
IDs.
you. Thank you.
And yeah, and Dr. Shashi Rekha, she says she feels healthier just listening to you.
Thank you, Sachin. Thank you. Dr. Sashilekha is an active FOT member.
Yes,
She
she's
was
very
one of the
active.
motivating force for us to join FOT. Yes.
So the
Yeah.
excellent things, and there is one question
Yes,
from
sir.
Dr. Samant,
Yes,
Dr.
sir.
A.D. Samant, the Vice
Yes, sir.
President of FOT. He says, can the seeds be given a treatment of termination, growth
By
hormone,
termination. Uh-huh.
and
Yes, sir.
will they cause harm to us as they will not disintegrate so early?
Okay, sir. Like they don't. You want to prolong the viability of the seeds by giving them a
I
treatment?
want to just let me.
Yes, sir.
I think the word is used germination. It's a growth hormone.
Yes.
Germination must be misspelled. For germination or a
Uh-huh.
physical frequency to be reduced,
Uh,
can we give them treatment with the many growth hormones which have like market of Godrej
Sir, I
Bahar?
do not know about the market available ones, but you can definitely, like for certain seeds, you require gibberellic acid, like maize. For some of them, you require auxins, and these are not going to affect us. In fact,
Okay.
see, sir, even when olden days, the farmers, when they used to make stem cuttings, so on these cuttings, they used to put gobar at the top and then put this, the cutting in it. I remember the Mali in our campus doing that.
No, for that Bena,
Yeah, so
Dr.
sir, there
Bena,
used to be auxins in that. So because
there,
gobar
there,
also has got auxins. So
there
if
are
you're given
powders available called
yes, sir,
Rutex.
Rutex, etc. No, huh.
The Rutex
Powders
is
for seed
for early
germination, I don't think they
germination.
could harm us, but we will have to see the chemical
Anything like a
constitution. Auxins and
tricontanol,
these don't harm us at all, sir. Yeah. Even
some growth
potato
hormones,
peppers, huh?
some growth hormones are used to boost the
Hmm.
growth and
Yes,
also germination. My
yes, sir.
point is that in a
Huh.
short time we are harvesting and eating them. So I hope
Hmm.
these growth hormones will not be endangering our health because they
Sir,
will not
according to
be
me,
integrated by
if
that
these
time.
growth
So either
hormones are
you
something,
treat them or
uh-huh.
don't treat them.
Sir,
Either you
it's
treat
okay if you
these or
see if
don't.
these growth, it will depend. If it is auxins, gibberellins, etc. So then it is safe to treat them. Yeah. Now
Hmm.
NBA also we are using, and that no harm is coming to us. So that also is safe. But then I do not know about the modern ones which have come up, the new synthetic ones which have come up. But I will do a literature survey on that and get back to you for
I'll
sure,
tell
sir.
you the
Yeah.
tricontanol is an essential element chemical which is being used as a booster or
Uh-huh.
early germination. It is in Rutex also, and
Right.
marketable products like Bahar is from Vipur.
Yeah.
They are very well
Ah,
used for a growth or boosting the growth of the seedlings,
yes.
plants. So also used for early germination. So that's my
Okay,
issue.
sir. So that should be okay. There should I mean we will just see the chemical constitution of that, like
Yeah.
which is the growth hormone which they are using. And then we can just make a study of that. I will definitely do that and get back to
We'll
you,
have to
sir.
explore that.
Yes.
We'll have to
Of course,
examine
it will
that.
be a
Yes.
pleasure, sir. Today morning we did know for that plant.
And
Yes, sir.
just Dr. Vijaya was saying about
Yes.
cucurbitaceae family
Uh,
and watermelons and these
yes. Mm-hmm.
pumpkins, lots of flowers and extra fruits of the watermelons are just thrown off.
Yes, sir.
Explore because people don't know they are edible and they
Yes,
are
sir.
so green. So we'll have to explore that and tell the
So
people.
these flowers are edible. Flowers are
Yeah.
edible, sir. Yeah.
So people don't throw them and use them. We'll have to use that.
We will have to use that. So why not take out the pollen?
Yeah, yeah.
So with that, which is that, the round one, Tinda
Tinga.
had stored the pollen last year. Last
Hmm.
year I had stored the pollen of Tinda in the chiller compartment in an airtight box. And then I
Okay.
had used it for pollination. And then I had got Tinda from that. And then my friend had said, "Arey, we eat the flower." So I ate the flower, the petals also of the flower by making,
Ah.
I mean, adding it to the egg. Yeah. So maybe paneer burji instead of egg burji.
Okay.
And it was quite good. I had enjoyed that. So that we can easily do. Yeah.
Thank you. There are
Thank
a couple of other questions
Yes, please,
from
madam.
Manijay
Please.
Mistry. He
Yes.
says how to use NPK for hydroponics, like how many grams per liter?
Manija, you can make just a very dilute solution, maximum 0.5%. Don't go beyond that. Or even zero point 0.1 is okay because the seed is also having its own nutrients within it. You're just giving a little boosting for the epigota, or rather for that baby stem to remain firm, strong, and have a better cell wall. Yeah. So just give about, let's say, zero point 0.1 to zero point 0.5, or zero point 0.1 also will be okay. Yeah. Don't go in for a very high concentration. Don't use it the way we use for our mature plants. A
Uh,
little bit, even manure. Though they are saying what they've used 1:1:1, our practical observation says 9:1 is enough, more than enough. That one part being the manure which we are using. So even NPK used minimum.
Thank you so much. Manize has another
Something,
question.
yes,
How to distinguish between male and female pumpkin flowers?
madam, it will be at the flowering stage. Flowering
Okay.
stage, the female flower will have a small structure, which is the ovary, in the shape of the pumpkin itself. It will be a small round ball at the base, or if at all it is going to be cucumber, it will be a small cucumber at the base. So that is the female flower.
Yeah. Uh, Thank you,
The
Dr.
male flower
Behnaz.
will
I
be
think
nothing.
That's
we've had
excellent information.
Okay,
Yeah.
excellent.
after a
I think
long
we will
time,
stop the question hour session. People
as you
are
know,
highly
no problem.
appreciative of
Yeah.
your statement. If we don't grow microgreens and vegetables from Homo sapiens, we'll turn into Homo idiots. Thank
Yes,
you very much. I
thanks a
hand you
lot.
over to Sakina now. Sakina, please.
Thank you, Vijaya. Now, I request Dr. A.D. Sawant to summarize the program in word of thanks.
Oh, thank you, Sakina, for this opportunity. I had so many questions and I got so much knowledge also. And I
Yeah.
must Dr. Mrs. Sawant, her friend of Behnaz, she's also
Oh,
listening carefully
Oh,
and
thank
so
you, sir.
also gave me some more knowledge. Uh, it's an excellent presentation. I had put the message in the box also. Voice also very good. And so the audibility and clarity in a subject matter and a presentation was excellent. Only thing that Behnaz unfortunately was not introduced properly. Here, the Sudha is prompting me. She is a cytogenetic scientist. She also guided several students for a PhD, published many more papers. And for me, as a pro vice chancellor, Behnaz was a very dependable teacher of the university on whom we could rely to give the early results like that. A very sincere teacher. So this part of introduction was lacking. So that I completed whatever I knew about her. Uh, Third thing is that I am more concerned as a member, friends of the tree, to explore these possibilities and tell the visitors at the exhibition. Propagate of the microgreens, the ideas. Normally we get in the market young foliage of mustard, or you get methi, just young saplings and seedlings But there are many more things. Even the radish can be looked into in the form of microgreen and not only as the same as a radish. Similarly, there are many trees which has a young foliage, and moringa, young foliage and flowers, I believe also can be used as a microgreen. Otherwise, they are wasted when there is
In
excess
fact,
of.
yes, we do use them, sir.
Mm,
In fact, you can dry the leaves, powder them, and add to curd every day.
yeah, yeah.
They're a
So we
very
have to
rich source
explore
of
the
iron also.
knowledge to the common man, the marketability, because in the huge farms I have seen in my native place, all
Mhm.
these flowers or even extra flowers or extra fruits of watermelon, they are just wasted because they do not know it can be used as a microgreen vegetables So very good information. FOT will take a quick cue from your talk and we can add some section on that. Our President Dr. Kothari can think of this excellent ideas that you have given. Thank you very much. So on behalf of Friends of the Trees, we are really indebted. All the tree lovers and people who want to have a benefit of this green world, they have been immensely benefited. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir. Thank you ever so much. Thank you.
Thank
Uh,
you.
Thank you, Dr. Sawant, for the vote of thanks. My sincere thanks to all the participants for joining us today in our webinar. We will be having more such webinars in the upcoming ones to be organized through the Friends of the Tree Society. So those who have provided their contact details, we will be contacting you and providing your the details about the upcoming seminars or webinars. Also, you all can find the recording of today's video on our official YouTube channel of the National Society of the Friends of the Trees. Please do like and subscribe. We would keep you updated about all upcoming events via our email and social media accounts. Thank you, everybody. Please keep safe till we meet again. Thank you.